The San Diego Prep Insiders Girls Basketball Podcast is powered by Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Welcome to the San Diego Prep Insider Boys Basketball Podcast. Christian Pedersen, Tommy Morris, Aaron Bergen. They switched spots on me. Everything is wrong in my life right now because it's all thrown off. This doesn't feel right. Next thing you know, like one of you is going to be replaced by our golf analyst, and it's going to be like Aaron Bergen, Jack Klein. I'm going to be like, what is going on?
Or you can replace me with Braden. That'd be awesome.
No, look, Braden and Haseen at some point this year, 2-on-2. We're taking you down. And also, folks, please stop confusing us. Like, we don't butcher the girls' rankings. We butcher the guys' rankings. That's who we disrespect. Speaking of guys' rankings, there's not a ton of change, so let's get through that real quick.
Yeah.
Let's just address the one major change that has happened.
Yeah, of course. Well, 1 through 8 pretty much have been the same this week. My big change was Saints moving down to 8, La Jolla Country Day taking their place at 7. But, of course, the bottom 9 and 10, absolute anarchy. A lot of teams lost. And when the dust cleared, I owed my friend Christian a big apology. At number 10, I have Mount Miguel. 6 weeks ago to the day, he texted me, is Mount Miguel a top 10 team? I think my response was hell no. I'm pretty sure it was something along those lines. Maybe
I think you just showed up at my place and smacked me.
Yeah. But now.
You got the baby powder out.
Yeah.
You whipped back.
But, now he's gotten, that sweet revenge for Christian because, indeed, Mount Miguel, number 10, and number 10 on the UT poll as well.
Well, it just goes to show that, one, early season basketball is the worst, most difficult thing to try and rank because 6-0 in D3 doesn't necessarily mean the same thing as 2-4 in open division and out of city versus in city. So it's not really a revenge versus a discredit thing. It's just a credit to a team that made it to CIF last year and didn't fall off. Yeah, they just kept going, and they play a very fun, athletic, up-tempo style of basketball that, honestly, doesn't come with a lot of flash. They don't necessarily have an All-American or a big-name player to center themselves around and get a lot of Twitter hype on, but they just keep on winning. Tommy, you want to lay out our top 10?
Yeah, our top 10, and they're almost exactly the same, Aaron's and ours. We've got number 10, Mount Miguel, 9, Montgomery, 8, Saints, 7, La Jolla Country Day, 6, Mater Dei Catholic, 5 is Vista, 4, San Marcos, 3, Mission Bay, 2, Foothills Christian, and 1, Torrey Pines. And I'll point this out, the only difference we have is the 1 and 2 are flops. So you have Foothills Christian at 1, we have Torrey Pines.
No, I butchered that on the graphic.
Butchered that on the graphic.
We still have the same top 3, but just basically flipped. I've got Foothills at 1. I've got Torrey Pines at 3. I've got Mission Bay at 2.
Okay, my fault.
Coming in at 11 through 15, Bishops, Orange Glen, SFC, El Camino.
Helix is now in that mix. Yeah.
Hashtag they might be better than last year.
No.
It's those teams. Anybody that were kind of also just on that bubble.
An interesting team out in Division 4 is Maranatha, Christian.
Always love going hashtag Nap the Nasty.
Nap the Nasty. I mean, they've only lost 3 games this year. One of their games was when their stud, Philip Willis, was out of the lineup with the flu. So basically, they're like 22-2 right now. And at this point, we've just talked about with Mount Miguel, if you keep winning, you're going to be on that radar. I think they're somewhere in the fringe 11 through. They're probably fringe 15 through 18, somewhere around that.
The same way that you could put 1 through 5, kind of 1A through 1D, you could put 11 through 22 sort of in that 1 win or loss will jump you 7 spots. Like it is a very interesting year in terms of the breakdown.
Also, another team that we haven't talked about a lot this year, Rancho Bernardo, 6-0 in the Palomar League, a league that I expected Poway to be, the top team after all their defections. Obviously, they're not the same team that they were at the beginning of the year. But credit Rancho Bernardo for right now riding an undefeated streak through that league, which is one of the tougher ones in the county.
And after graduating a fair amount of talent last season, it's always one of those things where you do eventually just have to start giving the unspoken credit to the coaches. The players are the ones out there winning day in and day out, but the coaches are the ones steering that ship sort of thanklessly, just hey, let's keep on working. Let's keep on working, because this isn't a sport where you can go out and get a free agent or you can make a trade late in the season. You know, high school coaches have to play the hand they are dealt, and they have to live with it, and they have to make sometimes lemonade out of just salt water and make it happen. Speaking of teams that are making lemonade, guys, game balls.
All right.
Who's treating you sweet this week?
All right. Well, for me, I'm going to give a game ball to Kibru Siebo and Thomas Tolentino from Preuss. Big win. I was in attendance. They beat O'Farrell by a pretty large margin. Kibru had 28 points. Thomas Tolentino, 23 points. Game ball, obviously, we've talked about Mount Miguel. To the entire Mount Miguel team, a really impressive 30-point performance over Sweetwater. Actually, it was 70-47 when it was all said and done, but they were playing the entire second half up 30. Really like Marquise Edwards, the junior, 6'5" kid, really coming into his own. Darian Norwood, obviously, last year was a big departure, but you know, I think Marquise is kind of a Darian 2.0. He's 2 inches taller, a little longer, same athleticism, but a little more skill at this point on the perimeter, which really excites me. I think the other kid that I think really has a chance is Craig C.J. Jackson, 6'6", 220-pound, just monster of a human being, and he's had a really good year. His first year ever playing organized sports, too. Let me see.
We might need to readdress that in a building character segment later this season.
No, he's like literally walks in a door and he just fills in all the gaps.
Not the size part. We understand that there's large athletic kids in the county. The never playing organized sports part.
Oh, never playing organized sports. Yeah, gotcha.
Dwayne Devin.
Bury the lead much. Any more game balls?
No, I did have a couple of other ones.
Keep 'em coming.
Thomas Marcus scored 40 points in a loss to Madison. But 40 points.
You cannot give out a game ball on a loss to your team.
40 points, man. That's a big time game. That's one of the highest point. That's one of the best point score performances of the season. Also going to give a game ball to my good friend Noah Tumlin at Mira Mesa.
Stealing my game ball, bro. I love that guy.
Oh man, he had a great game. They beat Olympian, a really good game. I was there again. And then my last one is going to be Marcos Thomas from Hilltop. Marcos Thomas.
I like that.
Yes, the 5'10" freshman in his second varsity game scored 16 points, including the final 6 points in a come-from-behind win over Crawford for Hilltop. That was a nice performance. Put himself firmly on the radar with that one.
Yeah, Hilltop, you need to pump your brakes a little bit, though, and stay at that, 12 to 14 seed.
Make you look good.
Yeah, can't have you guys being too good.
I got a couple. We're going to go to Hoover. Big win against University City in overtime.
We have to coordinate
Yeah,
these.
we really do.
You guys
Sorry.
are taking my
We
game
are
ball.
stripping and bare right now.
Harrington with 21 points. Good for him. And I'll only do one more because I don't want to steal too many from you. I'm going to go all the way out to Brawley.
Give out as many as you
No. Just one more. I'll let you pick up the scraps. Gonzalez and Zarte. 23 points for Gonzalez. 20 for Zarte in their win.
Yeah. Really interesting game. We'll get to Hoover, UC, Hoover, San Diego, Hoover, everything for everything. Hoover is a team that the last couple years we've been talking about, man, they've got the pieces. They're very close. And this year, trusting the process worked out. They are very close to making something very big happen. I wanted to give my Noah Tumlin game ball out for their win over Point Loma. You mentioned their win over Olympian. That Mira Mesa team, Noah Tumlin's only a junior, so really ultimately what we're looking at right now is them building for next year.
They've got a lot of underclassmen on that team. I mean, they're predominantly juniors. Noah Tumlin, Charles Lemon's a really good player too. They've got some talent coming back.
A game ball to Christian for their win at Coronado. That game was a bit of a slugfest, missing some shots early on, but then Christian pulled away. That team is a interior team. Mm-hmm. They get it done inside the arc, inside the paint, and I love that for the playoffs.
Can you imagine next year? They've got a kid, Patrick Roberts, who's sitting out. He had scoliosis surgery at the beginning of the year. He gained 1.5 inches due to the surgery, so he's 6'8". So next year they bring back 6'8" Patrick Roberts, 6'6" Jackson Larson, and 6'6" Christian West. They're going to have the most athletic front court in San Diego.
How can I get one of those surgeries? I'd like 1.5 inches. You could totally use that.
Yeah, he'll be 5'4".
All right, well, fun podcast, guys. We're out. Just general game ball to Francis Parker for beating Orange Glen. The Parker team is one that we've kind of talked about. Max Gwynn hasn't played all season. Matt Bender missed a ton of the season. So not to say that they have underperformed, but there have not been the marquee moments that we were maybe looking for from Francis Parker. So game ball to them for a big win.
They are the scariest team in Division II because right now they're sitting in the 9 seed, and now you've got all of their players back in the fold. This kind of reminds me of 5 years ago, Lincoln. The Robinson twins missed most of the year, one due to injury, the other one, finishing up college recruitment. And then on the eve of the playoffs, they decided they were going to play, and they were the 12th seed. So they knock off the 5 seed Morse, knock off the 4 seed San Isidro, and then almost beat the 1 seed La Costa Canyon. I could definitely see Francis Parker making that type of run in the playoffs.
I'll round out the last week game balls with High Tech North County beating Del Lago because we got to get to everybody at some point this year. We got Classical Academy beating Rock Academy and Victory Christian beating Mountain Empire.
Victory Christian's a good team. A lot of young talent there. 6, 7.5 freshmen and 2 sophomore guards who really can play.
Wait, who's the coach?
DJ Gay.
Awesome.
That reference needs to stay relevant. Otherwise, we are going to just look like. I'm not going to say we're going to just look like fools because we already do every week, but bigger fools than usual. So, guys, last week we had a cute moment between the two of you when we played the hashtag game. Do you mind if we play hashtag game again? Sure. All right. So the way this works, I throw out a statement. Each of them gives a hashtag in relation to it. First question. Looking into the playoffs, which part of the county will represent best? You can buzz in whenever one of you wants to answer first.
Go ahead, Tom.
Hashtag We the North.
Okay. Hashtag South of the 8.
Ooh. Okay. The Great White North, south of the 8. Moving on. Interior presence or beyond the arc, which has a bigger impact in the playoffs for teams that will win?
Hashtag Bombs Away.
Hashtag. I had a good one, and then I realized it wasn't really a basketball, right? Oh, wait, hashtag Pound the Paint.
Going hard in the paint.
Going hard in the paint. That's what I was thinking. But
Going hard in the paint. Team that you can't sleep on.
Hashtag Patriot Nation. Orange Glen. And Christian. And Christian in D2.
So does Patrick Henry get a little dovetail off of that also?
They get it.
Jayden Hallway, man.
They get a taste. I see that. Yeah, I see.
You see that a little bit?
Hashtag
All right.
Patriots Nation. All you guys. Love you.
I've mentioned them already, so I kind of feel like a broken record, but hashtag Nighttime Bishops.
Okay, I like what you're going there. That could also be San Marcos if you like.
Oh yeah,
we maybe needed to refine that question a little bit more so it's not.
There's a lot of mascots.
Yeah, if you said hashtag birds, you'd cover 45% of the county.
That's a perfect answer because you'd never be wrong. Hashtag Bird Gang. There's got to be one.
Looking forward, because like I said, all of this is going into playoffs. But let's look forward to. Does league title really dictate your playoff success?
Hashtag if you're good.
Hashtag no. Can't think of any more clever.
I mean, the way I see it, if you're in like the Palomar Western Avocado East League, yes, I think you come out of that, with the league title, you're going to be a contender. But if you're like champion of the Anza League or
so hashtag this
Summit League.
I will say this: your strength of schedule does matter in regular season. So if you're like kind of what you're saying, if you're in a tough league and you can hang, it's a good barometer that when you get the playoffs, you will. If you're in one of these leagues that only has one team that's going to go far anyway, it's kind of hard to know.
Open division will be better this year than we've seen in the last 5 years, just in terms of competitive balance.
Hashtag hell yes.
Hashtag get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, that is just keep that loaded.
That Michael Jackson one?
Yeah, just sitting there, just ooh.
That is a top 10.
Yes.
Just kind of an open-ended, what is a hashtag that will be the theme of the last 2 weeks of this season?
I'll let him take this one first.
Hashtag stay healthy. Get all the players on the court.
Yeah, hashtag avoid the flu. Man, it's been I mean, there have been a couple of teams that have dropped some head scratchers, and then you find out from their coaches, their entire team is like dealing with the flu. I mean, that's it's going around right now.
Well, speaking of going around, we're going to go around the county and talk about some games coming up this week and get some predictions. Starting with, we'll do Wednesday and Friday games.
Okay.
Because we will publish this on a Tuesday. So if you're watching this on Thursday, I'm sorry that you didn't get to see our game predictions in time. First one, LCC Carlsbad. Carlsbad, they had a marquee dub. So is this going to be hashtag Bloomquist Blooms, or is this hashtag LCC is the Great White North, or whatever he said? Let's stop the hashtag. LCC Carlsbad at Carlsbad.
I'm gonna go against the grain and pick Carlsbad on this one.
I was gonna do that too.
No, I like the way they're playing right now. They finally, they were one of the more disappointing teams this year in terms of just overall. No, they were. I mean, I had them in my top 20 at the beginning of the year. They have that much talent, but now they're living up to those expectations. And that home crowd's one of the best home crowds in the county.
Shout out the CHS Loud Crowd.
Yeah, that Lancers Nation is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna pick Carlsbad.
I was gonna give them a game ball, but then I forgot to. So from their performance last week, and then I was gonna put them as a sleeper team, and then I didn't. So this is my chance to talk about them. So I'm gonna take Carlsbad here in the upset. Technically an upset win.
Escondido Adventist at Maranatha Christian.
Maranatha Christian in this one. This will be an interesting matchup because these are both two Division IV opponents, and EAA, the Hawks, the Red Hawks, are one of the better teams, and they could end up, paired like in the second round. But Maranatha has a good home crowd, good energy. Philip Willis is one of the best players in the county that you've never heard of. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
This would have been one of those ones, if we did Bird Game, we could just win no matter what. Christian, I'm going to leave the answers for me because it's your favorite hashtag, and I'm just going to let you do it because I already know. Go for it.
Escondido Adventist.
No, but that's
Whoa! I love it.
SFC at Bishops.
I'm going to go Bishops on this one. I have picked against Bishops a lot this year, and they've won some of the games I've picked against them. Santa Fe Christian's tough, and they play tough on the road too.
SFC I feel like has a lot of pent-up L's that they're going to unleash on somebody, and they're going to put up like 140 points on someone. It might be Bishops.
I can't use the hashtag nighttime and then not pick Bishops.
Deal.
So got to pick them.
Let's move on to our Friday, February 9th slate of games. Guys, let's start with, let's go down to the South Bay, because Sweetwater has a freshman that we have not talked a ton about.
CJ McMillan.
So this gives us a chance to talk about him. We will talk Castle Park at Sweetwater.
Okay. Sweetwater by 35. I'll take that. And yes, CJ McMillan, he was actually the MVP of the 2021 Cream game this year. 6'4.5", big-bodied. He plays center for them, but he's more likely going to be a 3 or a 4 combo at the next level. Very skilled, can be a bruiser, but can also take you on the outside and handle the ball. Really talented kid. I'm going Sweetwater big.
Agreed.
Yeah, like I said, it just gave us a chance to address the fact that there is a freshman who is a potentially, like we've talked about Mater Dei. We've talked about Montgomery. That's going to be the marquee talent that represents the South Bay. But look out, because Sweetwater could backdoor sneak into that playoff scene and be like, hey, look, 3 teams from the South Bay. Like you said, south of the 8, they're doing great. Let's talk about Madison Crawford.
Oh, that's a really interesting
round 2.
Right there, round 2. I'm going to go ahead and pick Madison in this one. One of the more underrated player personnel additions during the year was Davion Crawford, who did not play a single game at the beginning of the year. He was focused on volleyball, decided to join Madison. 6'3" kid, 200 pounds, really athletic on the boards. You add him to the big Andre Soriano that they already have, and they are a load on the boards. Crawford's big weakness is outside of Ricky Stewart, they don't have much in terms of size. So I'm going to go Madison. I think this is going to be a very good game, though.
I thought San Diego was going to beat Madison. They didn't. It surprised me, so I'm going to take Madison.
Over/under on Coach Bird getting a technical. Just kidding. We'll let that one go for a minute. Let's go with Vista San Marcos.
Part 2.
Yeah, because we're into that. Everything has basically played, and now it's replaying. Now it's the chance for will the script flipped, dipped,
Yeah,
schnipped,
something like that.
dipped. English is hard.
I'm going to go with Vista on this one. Home crowd. San Marcos obviously benefited from having the first game at their place, shot the lights out. I think Vista comes out with a point to prove. And I think that, like last year, you guys gave me a lot of grief because I said there was going to be a split in the title, and I was almost right until El Camino crashed the party at the end of the season. This year, I do think it's going to be 2 teams finishing at 9-1, and I think Vista gets revenge from that first loss. I'm going Panthers.
Yeah, Vista showed me a lot with that overtime win against Mission Hills. They are a resilient team. Tommy?
Hashtag nighttime still. Cody Clouette. Don't let me down, man. Score like 30 points.
Any games on here that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, actually, a team that we haven't really talked about, and they probably aren't going to win that game, but Mount Miguel versus El Cajon Valley. Kudos to El Cajon Valley. The Braves have actually had some really good wins. They beat Monte Vista during the first half of league, and Monte Vista was the second place team in league up until that point. And they've had a couple of underrated wins. I think they're still 3 or 4 games over 500. We haven't really talked about them a lot. Obviously, the buzzsaw that is Mount Miguel is coming to town. That's going to be tough for them, but they could be a sleeper in Division 4.
I mean, I'm good with all those. There's so many games here that my brain is exploding. But, yeah.
Sweet. That'll do it for our Friday games. That'll do it for our podcast. That'll do it for us torturing Aaron, and we will let him go back to, we release him now for a week and before you have to be dragged back to our studio. Thank you very much for watching.
Am I a trout? What? He's catch and release?
Catch and release.
Yeah, catch and release, man. At least it's not a bait and switch.
I love that.
As always, hit us up if you disagree, if you agree, if you are just confused as to who we are and you think we're Braden and Haseen.
Full-time Hoops 1, Mr. CPAD,
Real Tom Morris, and we are out.
Yeah.